I get way more fulfillment out of getting the most important thing done first than I do doing the thing that I love best. That's one thing I had to think about. Rest is productive, and it's not a reward, it's a requirement, because there is a true switching cost. And it's when your brain is going from one thing to the other thing to the other thing. And there's a cost to that versus like being in the flow. Do y'all know that feeling when you're like so in the zone and you just don't want to let it go? You're like, I'm on fire. You adding one more thing of thinking what you should be doing is also adding stress and causing decision fatigue. So simply planning and having a plan allows your brain to kind of get into flow, get into the zone. And so I'm going to talk to you about when should you delegate those tasks? When did I start? What did I learn? I've got all of that packed for you. It's going to be so good. We're back on the Win with Paid Ads podcast today. We are actually going to talk about time management. So it's funny. It's something I'm really good at and terrible at simultaneously. Let me explain. So I have this disorder, okay? And it's this disorder, I swear there's a name for it. And it's where you think that you can get more done in a certain amount of time than you actually can. And it's because I'm so optimistic. Sometimes I'm overly optimistic. And I'll have an hour and be like, oh, I can get all 27 of those things done. And I get to the end of the hour and it's like, I'm so overzealous with this. And so I've worked on it. And it's honestly, all joking aside, like still something that I'm struggling with and working on, because I just hate feeling rushed. But one thing that I love feeling is extremely productive. And so I'm trying to balance the rush with the productivity. And so one of my clients, she is in my highest tier program called the Hall of Fame. And she asked me, she was like, hey, I feel like you are accomplishing a lot. How are you structuring your day? How do you think about time? And I've actually had a few different books I've read and things I've tried. And what I want to share with you today is actually how I'm changing as a multiple 7-figure CEO, soon to be 8-figure CEO, how I am structuring my day as a mom, because I'm running the business. I'm working directly with clients. I am a wife. I'm trying to balance all these things. And so how I bucket my time, how I organize my time, and how I honestly think about my time has really evolved as the business has. And so if you've been someone who's watched the podcast from day one, like you've seen the growth that we've had and you've seen my mindset and my business and the team and all these things grow. And I've shared, what I'm not good at and what I am good at. And so this is such an interesting one, because anybody who knows me intimately is like, she's always behind. Like, I'm recording this and we were supposed to start recording an hour ago. An hour and 16 minutes, but who's counting? But it's because I was so close to being like fully prepared, and I love to be prepared. So anyway, here's what I'm going to share with you today. You're going to walk away with today learning how I'm actually going to plan my entire weeks and my months and all of 2026 and why I'm doing it that way. So let's jump into it. And oh, by the way, if you have not joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, I'll have the link below this podcast or this video, but that is an opportunity for you to have multiple days live together for us to really walk through how you can win with paid ads. And people ask me all the time, they're like, am I setting up ads on this challenge? And you are absolutely positively not setting it up. That's why I actually don't call it the set up your paid ads challenge. It is how to win with paid ads, because the reason that people win or fail is actually not the exact setup they have, even though that absolutely matters. It's actually how they think about the advertising and think about the money and actually understand not just the button to click, but the why behind the button. So that is what's in it for you in the Win with Paid Ads challenge. So click the link below. All right, now let's jump in and talk about kind of the mindset shift. So when I think about how I manage my time, I think about whack-a-mole. You know that game where those little heads are popping up and you're like boom, 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 and you're just trying to like see like what's yelling at me and how can I like focus on that first. That's kind of the approach to business I had. It was like whatever whack-a-mole was the loudest, and I was like, okay, let's focus on that. And something I used to do is I used to have a bunch of tasks, okay, and I would just do the task that I wanted to do. And I'm like, wait, that's the task that like is totally fine that could have been done 3 months from now, but it's the one I have fun doing. So I'm like, let me do the funnest task first, honestly. So now I actually structure my days and my tasks based on priority. And that priority is what actually truly matters the most. And surprisingly, I get way more fulfillment out of getting the most important thing done first than I do doing the thing that I love best. Because I'm like, okay, I knocked that out. That's done. And now I actually feel the freedom and weight of the fun, the creativity that comes once I've done the thing that I didn't want to do, but, had to do, because we all have those tasks. But one thing that I've done as the business has grown is I have really, really, really started to ask myself, what should I be doing and what should I be delegating? And I'm not just talking about in business and in the work of the business. I'm talking about at home and life and all of those things. So actually on the next podcast episode, I'm going to talk to you all about one role. I'm actually going to let you have the opportunity to meet someone on my team who's absolutely incredible. And she is my executive assistant and personal assistant. She's my EA, PA. And I'm going to talk to you about her role, what she does, how she's played a role in my time management. It's going to be really cool. But what I want to talk to you about on this episode in particular is a few things I used to do, what I'm changing and why, and how you can actually structure your days, your weeks, your months, and your years based on some of these things that I've learned. So one of the core things I had to learn before I could do any of this, and honestly, this is like a new discovery, which is one of the reasons I wanted to create this episode, is I used to think that sacrificing my rest would allow me to be more productive. So I'm like, don't sleep when you can work, right? Let's get more stuff done for the next day. And I would always think, well, I have to do this for the next day. It's like, but then I always had something to do. There's always work to be done. And one thing that I'm like recovering and like working on is that rest is productive. For instance, this is something old Ashley would have never done, okay? Today, I have a full batch day of recording. And normally, I would have wanted to have woken up at 5:30 and gotten a workout in, because working out, and you're going to see in this plan, is like one of my favorite things. It is me filling my cup. But one thing I've been really careful about is auditing my energy. And when I exert myself so freaking fully in the day, when I have a heavy day, like a lot on my plate, I'm dying like sooner in the day. And like I wanted my energy to stay higher. So I'm like, I'm going to give my all to this. And I've built time in the afternoon to be able to get some movement in. But I just learned to actually not observe like so strictly. Has to be your schedule. It's like, how is that strict schedule working for my sanity and my body? And sometimes it's not working so great. So I've been really self-aware of saying, how can I protect my energy? Like, what's the thing I need to protect the most in this day? And when I have time where I'm like, man, I woke up, I have great energy at 5:30, perfect. I'll get up and work out. But if my body, I gave myself an alarm of 6:30 today. And I was like, if my body takes it until 6:30, great. If it wakes up earlier and I'm like a little Energizer bunny rabbit, I'm going to go downstairs. That didn't happen. My body was like, rest is what's productive right now. And that's something that I was not okay with before, but I'm slowly becoming like super, like I would so much rather get that extra 45 minutes of sleep. And I will make time to walk or get some movement in later. So that's one thing I had to think about. Rest is productive, and it's not a reward, it's a requirement. And I used to think that truly, honestly, my reward was like getting to take care of myself. But it's like, no, that has to be part of it so that you can pour from a full cup, not an empty cup. Another thing that my husband said, and if you haven't watched our episode together, it was actually really good. It was a couple episodes ago. And one thing that he said, you can buy back your future time, but you can't buy back yesterday. And I hadn't really thought about that, but I'm like, oh, what we're about to talk about even more is like, how can you delegate? What should you have someone else be able to support you in to buy back your time? And what you're going to see later, as I talk about the support that I have, even on the family side of things, it actually allows me to go from working in my job to immediately being a parent, instead of working on my job, working on things around the house like cooking and cleaning, and then having leftover being a parent. That's something that I really struggled with as the responsibilities that I had on my plate increased, because I would consider the responsibilities I have right now, I would consider that more than average right now. And so what I can't do is do all of these things and then this extra job and also the parenthood. So I'm going to talk to you about how I've transitioned and how I kind of helped myself think about that, because I struggled with it for a minute, even delegating and asking for help. So we'll talk about that. And let's see. One of the reasons, the last thing, and then I'll jump into kind of how I block my time in the day so that you can think about how this could apply to you, is part of being a rainmaker is, in my belief, a requirement to make it rain is for you to focus on what actually makes it rain, right? Versus focusing on 9 million other things that absolutely will prevent you from being able to make it rain and be successful in your business. And that is by you doing tasks that you should not be doing. And so I'm going to talk to you about when should you delegate those tasks. When did I start? What did I learn? I've got all of that packed for you. It's going to be so good. But rainmakers, that's like, as we think about it, they really focus on the things that make it rain. That's the prioritization. And one of the things I talked about with my team actually this week, or week before last, is I was like, hey, so the result is more important than the process. So I had a scenario This is an example scenario. Okay. Someone was like, I couldn't get on a sales call because I was documenting some things. And I was like, okay, I would rather you sacrifice the documenting and be able to have space to create a result for somebody, for the company and for this person, than falling back and saying, I'm unavailable because I'm trying to follow through a process. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying don't have a process and document it. I'm saying focus on the thing that gets the result first and then go back and do the process. All right, so let's talk about time blocking and getting into flow. So there's this study, and it says that switching tasks can reduce productivity by up to 40% because there is a true switching cost. And it's when your brain is going from one thing to the other thing to the other thing. And there's a cost to that versus like being in the flow and getting something done from start to finish. One thing that my husband knows is if he calls me and I'm in the middle of like a flow zone, I'm making sure that everybody's alive and well. And then I'm like, hello? And he's like, hey. And I'm like, oh, no, he wants to talk for a long time. And I'm like in the zone. And I'm like, I love you so much. I'm like in the flow right now. Like, is everything okay? And it aggravates him. And I'm working on it because I want to be there for him. But I also, do y'all know that feeling when you're like so in the zone and you just don't want to let it go? You're like, I'm on fire. So that flow zone is interrupted and impossible to continue on when you're getting interrupted constantly, which is why I've told my team, you should probably do it. Turn your phone on Do Not Disturb, turn off your Slack notifications, turn off your email notifications, put your phone down, put it in another room and just focus for a minute. I have to do that. In fact, one of my time hacks is up until the past like 3 months, I had audible notifications on my phone, which meant that every time a notification came from anything, it was like ding. And that little ding, I didn't even realize it, but it was distracting me. And I'm like, oop, I was in the middle of something. I'm like, I just have to look. And so what I've done is I will look at my Slacks and my Boxer messages and my emails on my time, not on their time. And forcing those notifications off was the only way that I was going to be able to have any control and eliminate this whole interruption so that you can get into the zone. Another study said that time blocking helps maintain your deep work and control over your day. And they did a study and it found that employees who structured their days by blocks of focused work had greater job satisfaction and less stress. Well, yeah, because they knew exactly what was in for it in the day. That's why we talk about, my team has talked about, I color code different things. I block the time off so that when you sit down for the day, it's not like, wonder what I should do. There's a lot of things going on. You already have a list and it's organized and it's time colored. And if you do it the right way, you put what's priority and the most important in the order, like I said, not in the order that you want to do it. Here's one of the things that someone sent me a message on Instagram when I posted this. This was like years ago. I made like a little my daily routine guide, and someone's like, "That's a cage. Like that's so structured. I'm a bird. I want to fly around. I don't want to be put in a cage." And here's how I like to think about it: time blocking isn't a cage; it's a compass. It just points you in the direction of what you should be working on, so that you don't have to think. You adding one more thing of thinking what you should be doing is also adding stress and causing decision fatigue. So simply planning and having a plan allows your brain to kind of get into flow, get into the zone. So here is my new structure for 2026 on how I'm structuring my days. And I'll tell you why we've done it this way. So I work my little fanny off Monday through Friday, just about every week. And so the last thing that I want to do, because this is something Kyle and I learned, is I don't want to do my self-care, like my hair appointments, my nail appointments, my facial appointments, anything that's care of me. I don't want to do that on the weekend because I don't want that to take away from my family's time. I told my team to do the same thing. I'm like, get your hair done on Wednesday. You can Voxer, you can email, you can Slack from the hair chair. It's so funny. There's so many people that require people to be in an office 5 days a week. I'm like, did you know the computer also works in any scenario? Like, don't do it driving, but I'm like, you can take that little computer and that phone with you literally anywhere and work. Why would you confine yourself to an office? Don't get me started on being in an office. I think I'm having some trauma. Okay, let's go back to talking about the day. So the whole point of that is I do my self-care on Monday. So I like to, and I like to stack things. You're going to see I like to do the same thing every day. So if I'm going to have a self-care day, I want it to be my nails. I want it to be my hair. I want it to be my facial. I want to do all the things in one zone back to back to back. And I work the whole time. I take calls on the way over there. I do, responses to client messages in between. I'm sitting in the hair chair. Like I sit there with my computer and I say, Brooke, I love you. And I'm not going to talk to you because I'm going to let you do your work while I do my work. And she's like, God, I love it. She's like, some people just want to sit here and yap the whole time. She's like, and sometimes I just want to do my work in quiet. I'm like, oh, me too. Like, so I find someone, like I actually, when I date the person that I'm going to work with for self-care, I'm like, can you handle utter silence? Like this morning, Sarah, makeup artist, I sat there and was like, hey, I'm going to get in the zone right now. I'm going to take a meeting from here. And she's like, perfect. Amazing. Now I get to use the time. I'm not feeling guilty for getting my hair done and my team makeup done during the week because you're still getting stuff done in between it. Now, what I'm not saying is everywhere you go, you must work 24/7. I'm also not saying that. My role as a CEO of this company right now is I enjoy doing that, right? Like it's my baby. I have limited time. I'm going to make the most out of my time so that I can spend the weekends with my family, and I'm working on spending nights. I'm working on it, right? Work in progress. We all are. But this is how I'm structuring it for 2026. Self-care and working on the go on Mondays. Tuesday is going to be external day. So like anything that is serving, because I actually like to get all of my clients happy and like knowing that I've taken care of them at the beginning of the week. So I prepare on Monday. So I have all my coaching calls on Tuesday. Typically, there's flexibility. We have multiple days where there's coaching calls sometimes, but I get completely prepared for those coaching calls that are on Tuesday on Monday. That way I'm not having to do it on Sunday. Because if I did it on, you know what I mean? If I coached on Monday, I'd have to be prepared on Sunday versus being able to be prepared on Monday so that I can coach on Tuesday. So external day, that's if I do podcasts, that's any coaching calls, anything that is me serving someone else. I like to knock that out because I love them to be great for the rest of the week. I don't know why, but my brain is like, I don't want them to, any of my clients, it's like, I want them to know that I put them first. Like they were my priority for the week. And so I do that at the beginning of the week. On Wednesday, it's internal day. That's where that's when we have our team meeting. I'll meet with other members of the team that I manage. We'll do that. We'll have any other collaboration stuff and any internal work that needs to get done. It will be that day. I just wanted to remind you really quickly that if you haven't joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, the doors are closing soon. And just as a refresher, this is 5 days of you and or someone on your team learning my 5-part strategy to scale your paid ads. So day 1 is messaging, which is what you say and how you say it. Day 2 is setting, which is all the different places you can place your ads. Think Google Ads versus YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. Day 3 is targeting, which is how you can get in front of your exact right person. Day 4 is testing, so you can know what to test and how to improve your ads. And day 5 is scaling and profiting and how you can 10x whatever you're spending on your ads now so that you can have more profit and return and impact, which is ultimately what you want, right? So click the link below and I cannot wait to see you in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. Then Thursday is going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a VIP day or a group VIP day, because I have 2 ways I do VIP days. We have the freaking best VIP days, by the way, but that's a separate subject. But we do solo days and we do group days. And actually coming up soon on a few episodes from now, I'm actually going to talk to you about my group VIP day experience with Alex Hormozy. You're going to love it. So make sure you watch that. It's coming up soon. But we have solo days and we have group days where we have 3 to 5 business owners and we do this group VIP day. So on Thursdays, we'll either do VIP days or we'll do batch content days. Like today, I sit here and we rapid fire. I get in the flow, in the zone, and we go boom, 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 boom. And we get all of our YouTube and podcast stuff done for a day. So either way, it's content, but that's Thursday. And then Friday is an open day. It gives me time to do creative strategy, flex work. I don't want anybody on the team to really have meetings on Fridays. I want us to be able to get stuff done. And what I love is if I have an open Monday and an open Friday, what that does is it opens the door for flexibility and opportunity. Because if something happens and someone's like, hey, I have this huge opportunity for you, and it's on Wednesday, I'm like, great, I'll change all my internal meetings that week to a little bit Monday afternoon or a little bit Friday if I needed to. It gives me a window to be flexible. So that's the structure. And then Saturday, full mom mode on Saturdays. And then Sundays, 60% mom mode, 40% prep mode. So what I found is we wake up, we have breakfast as a family, we go to church, we go play, we have nap time. And then after nap time is typically when I transition to just getting prepared for the week, whatever that looks like. It could be me picking up some stuff around the house, but I typically have someone here to be able to hang out with the kids. She helps with the kids, and then she helps with cleaning. So that by the end of Sunday, the kids got to have some mommy and daddy time. They got to play with Madison or the babysitter. And then she cleaned up all the house and the laundry and the stuff for the weekend because I don't do any cleaning on Saturday. I'm like, I'm not going to touch this mess. It's just going to be a tornado for just a moment because I know she's coming over on Sunday to help. So sometimes that means I'm playing with the kids and she's cleaning. Sometimes it means I'm doing a little organization project in my closet that I've been needing to do because sometimes you just need a little bit of focus time. And so I just love that I'm here. I'm home. I'm with the kids, but I do have someone being able to support it. So if Kyle wants to go hunting and I want to go for a walk, like we get a moment to take care of us and still be around and with the kids. We have dinner together as a family. We put the kids to bed. It's great. So that's my prep day on Sunday. And that has been a gift from God, I'm going to be honest. Because Madison's honestly normally here from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. So I have 6 hours of time to be with the kids and around the kids, but also get anything I need done for the week, which I love. Because then I walk into Monday not stressed at all. And that's the other thing I was going to tell you. So I read this study and it was about the happiness of the parent. Let me see if I can find it. It was really cool. I can't remember the exact study. I'm going to have to look for it in a minute. But basically, it was talking about how important the mother's happiness and the children seeing the mother's happiness is for the kids, like security and comfort and connection with their mom. And that's why one of the things, as we think about how I block my time and the support that we get, I'm like, I can immediately be a better mom when I'm not completely stressed 24/7, feeling like I'm failing in every other area, right? So one of the things I was thinking about when you think about time is we have invested in a chef. We have invested in someone who is a house manager, who is my mom. She helps every morning, Monday through Thursday. We have someone else that comes on Friday. But every morning from like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., we have a house manager. And by the way, I've had so many people ask, like, what's this house manager list? And what are all the tasks that they do? And how does that work? And actually, below this episode, you can actually go to the link below this podcast or YouTube video, and I'll have a list of some of those house manager roles. So you can look at what that looks like. And I'll link to a few books that I mentioned here, like the Peak Performance book, the one that helped me realize that rest was productive. I'll link to that book here in that guide too. So just click the link below that video to get it. But yeah, so we have a house cleaner, we have a house manager, and then I have Rose, my executive and personal assistant, who you're going to get to meet on the next episode. But what that allows me to do is go straight from work to mom. Like when the boys are here, I'm not like, oh, now I have to figure out what I'm going to cook. It's like I get to be like, hey guys, you want to golf? Like we like hang out in the front yard, or I sit on the porch and just rock and just like watch them play. Like I'm able to actually be present and be there versus being distracted doing another thing, which is what I've honestly done for the last 12 years. And I'm also not saying that's a bad thing. I'm simply saying in this phase of life with where I'm at in the business, I've had to become okay asking for help so that the moments that I do get, I can spend with the kids, because it honestly fills my cup and it fills theirs, and it's really important to me. So let's see. The planning and time management thing that we're doing is I used to, which I agree this is bad. Okay, I'm self-reflective. I'm not perfect. But I was so like not thinking that I was planning all my work trips and my work things before I was like, hey, when should we do a family vacation? And one thing we changed last year that I'm doing this year is I'm like, okay, when are we doing our family vacations? And then the work trips can like funnel around those. That's something we're working on right now, is like we're going to take the kids, I think, to Lake Tahoe this year. And I'm like, okay, let's put that in, and then we'll figure out how I can build some work things around that. Okay, so now let's talk about like the nitty-gritty of a day. So working out and exercising is like core to who I am. It makes me so happy. I love feeling strong. I love feeling fit. It is fun. Like I get a thrill out of HIIT workouts. I'm like, ooh, I love being out of breath. I'm like, man, you did something. I just feel like our bodies were made to move. And so I get such a thrill out of it. And so typically in my dream world, I work out in the morning. I was reading about how there's all these decisions. And it's like if you work and then work out, your body can't give as much to the workout because you've thought so much. Like it's like your brain burns calories too, and it's activity. So it's like giving your body the freshest perspective. Now, listen, there's two types of people. There's the people that like working out in the morning. There's people that like working out in the evening. You may be listening to this and be like, she's crazy. And if you're an evening person, that's perfect. You know that you're probably more productive with your work in the morning. I'm like, I am strongest. I'm like a little, Kyle and I call it lazy tennis racket hands. When I hold my racket like this and I'm hunched over, he's like, well, you have tennis racket vibes. I'm like, yeah, I'm tired. Like I cannot work out in the evenings. I can walk. I love an evening walk. But so what I do is I take care of my body in the morning. I'm probably like 2026 me. Gosh, this sounds so bougie, but it's a company perk, okay? Like I'm probably going to get in the sauna. I'm probably going to work out. I'm going to get in the sauna. I'm going to get in the cold plunge. And then we get ready for the day. Doesn't that sound good? That's probably my like take care of me, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt when I can give my fullest, most energetic self, my clients, my team, my family benefit the most. So taking care of me in the morning allows me to take care of them the very best. And then some boundaries I'm going to set for my time is having no laptop or phone from the moment that the boys are home to the moment that they go to sleep, which is really somewhere between 5 and then they go to bed at 7:30. There's no reason for those 2.5 hours that they can't get mom. And so that's one thing that I'm really working on. Now, sometimes I go to bed. Well, Kyle, I'll have like a 15-minute window while Kyle's doing bath time and I might knock out a few things. But my 2026 goal version of me does not, like, is fully kids and fam from 5 to 8. So that way the morning is me, work is the middle of the day stuff, and then ending is no laptop, no phone. And one of the things I'm terrible at right now, which I'm trying to figure out, but I'm working on it, is actually getting my brain to freaking slow down and turn off and calm down. I'm like, take a chill pill. And what I don't want to do is, like, I've chosen, this is just my path right now for my health stuff, which is a whole separate conversation, is I don't want to just have a glass of wine and calm down. I want to, like, get my body to show it how it can calm down. And so I just got to get my brain to slow down and actually be off my phone so I can be ready for bed. And one thing I've found lately that's actually helped is when I get quiet and in my bed and still and I read for about 10 minutes, like an actual physical book, it's really helping me get sleepy. So just trying to figure out an evening routine just to get to a place where I can go to bed between 9 and 9:30 so that I'm happier to wake up earlier. I know it's different for everybody. All right, a few last things, and then we're wrapping up on time. So delegation, here is a few thoughts. So I like to audit what I'm doing every day now. And so I'll say, is this something I should be doing? Who could I delegate this to? Like, those are common things I ask myself every day when I'm like, why am I doing this part? Why am I? Because when you think about, there's the stat, and it was a Harvard Business Review, and it said 68% of entrepreneurs spend their time on day-to-day tasks that anyone could do, and 30% of the time they spend it on actual strategy. But when you delegate, it flips that so that you don't have to be doing as much nitty-gritty implementation tasks. Someone else can do it. And the note that I wrote down is you don't hire and ask for help because you can afford to. You hire help because you can't afford not to. And I actually did some math here. So imagine, as the CEO of your company, your hourly rate, let's pretend it's high. And you're like, hey, my time on when I actually can focus and create something for the business is worth $500 an hour. If you can reclaim 10 hours a week, that's $5,000 a week back in your time. That creates $260,000 of revenue. So if you take the $500 an hour and actually spent it on those things, you are making money by taking that 10 hours off your plate and delegating it. And someone's like, I don't have time to delegate. I'm like, that's the very reason you need to do it. Like, you need to take time and say, what is this task I'm doing? Record it, transcribe it with Fathom AI, have it give you a summary, and then send that to somebody and say, here's the recording of the task. Can you own this and take this off my plate? Because when you buy back your time, it actually creates space for creativity. So if you're running your business and you're doing a million things, or maybe you work at a company and one of the things you love is that your creative focused time, you can't get access to that time if you're doing as many little nitty gritty things. So even as we grow our company, I'm going to be asking our team and our leadership, like, what are things you're spending your time on that you feel like maybe you shouldn't? And that's honestly been the whole way we've hired the whole company. As I asked Laura Beth, I'm like, what are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your time? And then we've hired roles for her to take over so that we can find experts in every one of those areas. And as the company grows, everybody, in theory, will have tasks that they will be able to elevate to that are more creative and strategic, and everybody else will be able to delegate some of the more nitty-gritty tasks. But we know we all got to do. I mean, I made the fries at not O'Charlie's. I did work there too, but Chick-fil-A. Like, you start in all the positions and then you elevate and grow up in the company. Okay, a few last things is one thing that I used to think that I now think is wrong that I want to encourage you with is people are hesitant to be like, well, why are you delegating that? Like, shouldn't you be doing that? Like, you're the mom. And one thing that I want you to consider, whether you are a mom or are not a mom, if you are someone and someone has asked, why are you delegating that task? Or, why can't you just cook? Why can't you just clean? I want you to consider the thought that when you don't delegate, you eliminate an opportunity for someone else. You eliminate the ability for someone else to come in there with their value and their skill and actually change your life and change theirs. Because the way this world, as you and I know, works is you trade value for money. That's everything. Whether you're buying, whether you're hiring, whether you're running ads, you are trading money for value. The value with the ads is that you're getting exposure. The value with your team is you're getting an incredibly beautiful brain. The value with hiring a chef is you're getting the value that Chef Danny loves cooking and she's way better at it than I am. Why would I do that when it frees me up to be with my family, the kids get fed better, and she's so stinking happy that she gets to do what she loves too, right? You're eliminating opportunity when you're not delegating. There's someone else who can do that thing better than you, for sure. Okay, so I think I want to wrap up today with a few like summaries, and then the last thing I want to do is, I found that study. And it says studies show that parental happiness strongly predicts children's emotional well-being and healthy behaviors. And like, I know one of my memories, like core memories I have growing up because my parents are divorced, is, well, there's two and they're actually day and night. One's traumatic and one's really, really good. So there's like some really, really good ones of like the dinner table. That's like one of my favorite things. I remember us like being happy because they got divorced in first grade, but like the happiness of your parents actually allows you to feel secure as a child, right? You're like, man, just seeing mom and dad so happy, right? Well, one of the reasons that everything that I do, and that's why this buying back your time, like if you really think about it, if I'm talking about buying back your time, I'm talking about money. And in order to make it rain, which is making money, you have to pay with money for something. It's all about money in the best way. And so here's why this matters to me. I feel like for those of you that haven't heard this, I'm gonna go deep for just a minute and like share with you just one thing I thought about recently on why money is so important and why making it rain is so what we are all about. So my parents were divorced and my mom would drive me to my dad's house to pick up the child support check because it was like, I don't know, the 90s, early 2000s, right? We drove up. I don't think there was like mobile deposit then, okay? I don't think there was a Chase Bank app on the phones, right? So every week we would go drive to dad's house to get the check of the child support, and he never missed one. He took care of us. My mom worked, dad worked, but we would always drive over to dad's. And there was this one moment where my mom went to go and get the check from dad, and she walked out, and there was something that they said because they were in the middle of the divorce. And my mom never gets mad. And anybody who knows her knows she's an angel from heaven. And the lady does not get mad. She's just an angel. Well, I remember this because it was so vivid. She walks out of the house and she's like starting to cry. And she takes her hand and she bangs it on this car. And actually left a handprint on the car. She was so upset. And regardless of what like scenario created that anger, what I associated it with in my brain at the time was my mom having to go and ask for money. And so many of y'all know, and I actually have another episode where you're actually going to get to hear about me and Kyle share a story about counseling and how life-changing it's been for us. But I have been escaping that moment. Like I do never want to have that. When there was a moment where Kyle and I were not doing quite so great, I was like, oh my God, I never want to drive to his house and have to be like, hey, can I have the money, please? Like I just didn't want to have that. And so I've been escaping that. And so this whole time, like, why am I so obsessed with creating profit and money and growing and impacting lives and helping other people be able to do the same? It's because I'm escaping that moment of having to go take money. I wanted to create money. And listen, I wouldn't trade my mom. I can't even express to you. My mom was a teacher and I wouldn't trade it for the freaking world. She was there for me all the time. And dad was too. They were both, they were divorced, but they were the best possible parents. I knew in that moment two things. Number one, I didn't want to have to ask anybody else for money ever. I wanted to create that value myself. And number two, when Kyle and I were struggling with the relationship stuff, what I realized is that my value at the time was associated based on his business. Like when I went to the events, I would be like, oh, you're the wife of like the top new agent. Like, and I was like, yeah, I'm actually, I didn't have, at the time, I didn't feel like I had value. I would feel like I was associated with his value. So when our relationship kind of was challenging for a bit, I was like, oh my gosh, if we weren't together, what value do I have? Like I can't be solely reliant on my value being attached to somebody else. So between that and this wanting to escape, never having to ask someone for money, I had a moment and I was like, I want to be with him forever. But if we're in that exact moment, I was like, but if we're not, I want to be able to create my own money. And I was like, I want to create value and I want to help other people make it rain so that you know it, I know it. One of the top reasons couples fight is about money. Kyle and I did all the time. And I was like, if I can actually help other families be able to make it rain in their business and actually not have to fight about money for my team, for my clients, how freaking cool and impactful is that for me that there's not another kid who'll be sitting in the car watching what I did because you had to go ask someone somewhere else. I know I could go deep and I hope y'all see that like making rain is not just like, oh, you should make money. It's like there is a deep purpose here and I'm understanding why it's so important to me. But at the end of the day, as cheesy as it sounds, like being able to help you grow and actually do what you love doing and you have to have profit. And that is why everything we do is about making it rain. because it changes the game for you, your clients, and your life. And so that's why I know that if you keep doing the same tasks and you don't plan your day and you don't block your time and you don't pay for support and be humble enough to say, I do need help in these areas, you won't be able to have the impact and make it rain like we want it to. So that's how it all ties together. So for today, recap of everything: rest is productive. Structure actually creates freedom. Delegation is not indulgent. It's actually intelligent. Buying back your time creates more time for you to be creative, to create more money and space in your business. And wearing the badge of burnout is probably not what I'm going to do in 2026. It's going to be wearing the badge of intentionality and delegation and balance as much as we can. So I'm really excited because the next episode, you're actually going to get to meet my executive assistant and personal assistant, Rose. She is absolutely incredible. So many people have been like, what does she do? How did you find her? What's the story? And you're going to get to hear all of that on the next episode. So don't forget, if you haven't joined the Win with Pay Dads challenge, click the link below this video and join if you want that guide of some of the books that I recommend and some of the ways that we structure the day. We'll have a link and resource below this video. Otherwise, I will see you on the next episode.